Dr. Anita McLaughlin, and you have just entered a diamond moment. If you've been with me before, you know that we have been asking the question, what kind of person are you? And I ask, are you the type of person who questions what you want to do, you should be doing? I wanted to delve a little farther into that today so that we would be able to get a better understanding of challenging our limiting beliefs and moving our life forward in the direction that we want to go. I want you to always remember that the diamonds of your life are produced through time, heat, and pressure. The cut, clarity, and size of the diamond or of that experience will determine the way that you use it, and the way that you use your experience has great value because there are diamonds in you. What do you want to do? What is it that you feel as though you should be doing? These are areas that are directly tied to our destiny and our purpose. Those things that are innately who we are, that lie within, that move us towards what will eventually be our legacy. We're moving from purpose through life with experiences to destiny to legacy. And so and it's very important that we cover those areas that limit who you are and have been designed, I believe, by God. You might call it creator, source, universe, but that you have been designed in a certain way with gifts, talents, abilities that will allow you to fulfill your destiny and reach your legacy. And I believe it will be one to be proud of. I want us specifically because in the United States, February is celebrated as Black History Month. And I wanted to give a little bit of something to think about as relates to Black History Month, being an African American woman, what it means in our culture, and where we have been. And I want to add that in to what you think you should be doing and what's holding you back. If you've paid attention to anything going on in the American culture right now, there is a lot of discourse about what the African American can say and know about their own history, which relates to their own culture. We see so many times that we have outstanding athletes or musicians or actresses or actors that have done phenomenal things in those that have just achieved so highly in the sciences, in education, in technology. You name the field, there are African Americans who have played a prominent role, I guarantee you, in its growth and development. And yet there remains a segment of people who have determined that they will silence that information. It always is funny to me that people will try to silence you, and in so doing, when that comes out, then the joke is out, and instead of you silencing someone, what you've actually done is to promote what they're doing. So when we see places and leadership like that is in Texas, or that which is in Florida, or some of the other southern states that have actually set out to limit what can be said, It's almost comical because that person was so short-sighted that they didn't realize that talking about it put it on center stage front. There's been a lot of talk about CRT, critical race theory. And one of the things that the governor in Florida had decided that he was going to ban critical race theory, that they were going to go through the schools and wipe out any information that differed from the traditional good old slave having a great time to what actually took place. It's so interesting because now on Hulu, a streaming service, there is the 1619 Project, which is a documentary. And the interesting thing to me about that documentary is that it says that it expands the book. So not only do you get more than you would have gotten in the book, but now it's even easier to access. It has almost been a standard and ongoing thing that young people, youth, when you tell them, don't look at this, that's exactly what they're going to look at. We saw that in the 50s with the rock and roll music. We don't want you to listen to that. And that's exactly what they wanted to listen to. So the whole talk of you can't see this, you can't read this, you can't know this is counterintuitive to actually stopping a person from finding out what they probably weren't even concerned about in the first place. When you go back and understand what actually is at play, and most of the things that we're seeing in the American society and culture today, it all goes back to the power that's derived by the vote. If the vote can be suppressed, if the vote can be removed, if you can limit the access and right to vote, you have a greater opportunity to control the narrative politically, socially, and surely financially across this country. What we need to pay attention to, because I had an opportunity to speak to a young man this past week, and he said, I am interested in cultural things. He was not an African American. And he said, I'm interested, and I have family members who are African American. Yes, different people being a part of the human race, marry people who may not be the same, maybe more or less melanated than they are. It happens. He said, my family doesn't get it. They think that it's over, it's past, slavery is done, and we can move on from there. There's an age-old expression that says, if you don't know your history, you're bound to repeat it. And right now in the United States, with the bans that are taking place, with the censorship that is taking place, it's moving us to that area of time which was called Jim Crow in this country, where one segment of people were vilified, the others were the ideal race to be, and if you fell on the wrong side of the fence, your life was pretty rough. What we're finding out right now is how history can be twisted. We're seeing it in real time. We're seeing it as it happens. When we have an insurrection, an attempted coup or overthrow of our government, and some would be willing to term that as just a regular day at the Capitol, we understand that in real time, history is being skewed and only spoken from one perspective, or only wanting to be evaluated or looked at from one perspective. If we're seeing that happen right now, what would make you think that that has not been the course of history, specifically through the Jim Crow era, where everything was twisted to show the viewpoint of one group of people? to show them in a positive sense as opposed to a negative sense, to villainize people who want freedom into someone who is asking to take another group's freedoms away. So when we're looking at what do you think you should be doing, what do you want to do, sometimes your beliefs need to be challenged to say, this is exactly what you should be doing, because you're at the time and place now where it's needed. Sometimes the people that have been placed around us, specifically those that maybe grew up in households of parents or grandparents from that World War II era, where their lives were in jeopardy if they spoke out, if they said too much, if they did too much. And sometimes those limiting beliefs have been placed in their children or grandchildren's lives with the desire to protect them. But what's actually happened is those thoughts have been limiting to them. They may very well have had greatness within them, and it was going to take courage to stand up in the face of a society that was telling you something that was not true about yourself, and in order to fulfill your destiny and reach your legacy. If our story, our history, is being manipulated in front of our very eyes, we must know that this has probably been the case of many of the things that we have been taught to be fearful of or to stay away from. If our history is being manipulated in front of our eyes, what about the history of other cultures? Are they being manipulated as well? So as we move forward in Black History Month, I want you to pay specific attention about the things that a part of this country is trying to stop you from knowing. And understand, as we've said before, if they spend that much time and money on trying to keep you from finding out, is something that you truly need to know. I want to make you aware that you have diamonds within you. You have greatness within you. And the only person who can hold you back is you. It's so necessary to challenge limiting ideas, to look at again who you believe that you were positioned on this earth to be, what you want to do, and should you be doing it? Absolutely yes. Thank you for staying with me. Please visit my newly launched YouTube channel. I'm working on it. I'm perfecting it. I'm getting it better. And I believe that I can. So I just appreciate each and every one of you so much. Don't let anyone or anything limit who you are, who you want to be, who you've been destined to be. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't. Thank you for listening, and join me next time as we redefine the previous steps of your process. Never forget, becoming is a process. A process has stages. One small change changes everything. So invest in yourself. Please visit my website at www.DrAnitaMc.com. That's DrAnitaMc.com for links and additional information. And please rate the podcast if you're enjoying it.